Welcome to Beyond the Chutes is presented by Parasite Systems. I'm your host, Doug Simcox, and I hope you're having a great day wherever you might be with whoever you might be sharing it with. I heard this the other day. If you're having a bad day, don't go spreading it around. Keep it to yourself. I'm joined today with my co-host, Mr. Sam Swearingen. Sam, are you there?
I am, Doug. How are you today?
I am good. Good to hear from you this morning.
Good to be back in the game here.
Good to be back in the game. And today, Sam and I, we are riding for the brand BTC. Now, I'm sitting in Taylorsville, Kentucky, a beautiful, cool, sunny spring morning. And joining us on the phone today is Dan Stoneham of the Benton Area Rodeo Association out of Benton, Pennsylvania. Welcome to the show, Mr. Dan Stoneham.
Thank you. It's nice to hear from you.
It's good to have you on with us. You've got a show that happens every July, and if I'm not mistaken, 2024 marks the 39th year.
Yes.
You got a big show that kicks off a week on Tuesday the 16th, your Frontier Days Fun Show. Wednesday the 17th of July, you've got the Open 3D Barrel Show. And then on Thursday the 18th, the doors open at 4 o'clock. The show is at 7:30, the first performance of the rodeo. Then Friday night on the 19th, same time. Saturday on the 20th, same time. And then Sunday on the 21st, the Bullarama. And I want to tell our listeners you can find this great rodeo on Facebook at Benton Rodeo. Just search for it and find it. And they've got a great website, bentonrodeo.com. All kinds of cool pictures and videos. You can get your online tickets. There's just a lot goes on. Beautiful website. And Dan, as we get started here, let's start with that subject. How did you get started in 1985?
The citizens and some of the business people in Benton, we thought we should get together, see what we could do to help the Benton area. And we all went up to the golf course and we sat up there talking, and somebody mentioned a rodeo. And when they mentioned that, the farmer that was sitting near me said, "You can have my farm." And the golf course said, "You can park on the golf course." Wow. And so we went out and started the first year at the Roy Everett's farm by the golf course. And the first year it was a big success. I think back in 85 we made like $10,000.
Wow.
So then we decided, well, let's try a second one. So we had the second one there and it came out the same way. And then we thought, now what are we going to do? So we tried to give a little bit of money to all these groups around the area. And then we thought the third year, they would come back, want to get involved, but we felt we had to get our own land. So when we went down to the borough, we heard they had 20 acres down there that a farmer always put corn on. So we went to the borough council meeting and asked if we could try that, put a rodeo into Benton town. They gave us a 3-year lease.
The town did.
So then, so after we got that, then we thought, how are we going to develop this? So we thought if we just do a rodeo, we thought maybe in years it might slow down, but if we get these groups that we helped, get them involved, let them come in, fire company, come in with the French fries, the Benton Lions, Little League, have them come in and do work in their own stands if they made money. When our lease was up, if we had to go back for a second lease, everybody would jump in with us because we're supporting their groups. And so we got our 3-year lease.
Okay. And when you got the property, 20 acres in the borough of Benton, fences, any kind of buildings or anything?
No, nothing there but a cornfield.
Really, all cornfield. And if we look at the grounds today, my goodness, the arena, the food stands, the office, everything. So when did you start to invest? You had a 3-year lease. When did you start to improve or invest, I should say, in the improvements of the rodeo grounds?
I would say we started the first year on the grounds itself. We had to go get bleachers at a little lumber company. what hauled bleachers in from different colleges and different places. So we had bleachers, and everybody pitched in that way. And then eventually we built a building for the food and the announcer stand. We built bleachers, and the announcer stand went up in the corner of the bleachers. And from there on, we just kept improving.
And so at the end of your 3-year lease, did it go as planned? Were you able to just roll in? And what happened at the end of that 3-year lease?
Well, we went back and we got another lease. But I think it was a 10-year lease. And then we went through that. And then we kept building more and putting a new announcer stand in. And we put seating in for like 3,000 people. And we had to borrow money to get all that done.
Now, when you talk about borrowing money, what does that mean? The Rodeo Association could borrow money?
Our chairman at the time was the head of the bank here in Benton. And some people got behind and signed papers to guarantee the loan without their wives knowing it. Not to be funny or anything.
Yeah.
And we thought, we got to make this thing work somehow.
Do you remember what the
So that's sort of how it got going.
Do you remember the amount of that first loan?
Nope, I don't remember.
Okay, but
But I
substantial?
know on the bleachers, little lumber company, we got all the wood from them. They gave us a whole year to pay for it, things like that.
Wow.
And if we needed something somewhere, we'd try to get that person to be a sponsor in a rodeo. Then we could get the material that we needed without taking cash from them. And we just kept building like that, getting things that we needed through sponsors.
Okay.
And with this, Dan, what comes to my mind right off the top of the head is here you are building this facility, and it's not your ground. You have a 3-year lease. Well, you're spending money on something you could lose in 3 years, and then your 10-year lease, you're really starting to put money into it. You're growing, the events getting known and getting bigger all the time, and you still don't have a good handle on if you're going to be back in 11 years. So how was that deal with?
Well, when we had to borrow that money for the bleachers, and we saw future improvements that we had to do, we went to the council and got a couple council members and a couple from our side, from rodeo, and we made an appointment with a lawyer in Bloomsburg, and I was along with him, and we went down and we talked. We said we either have to buy the land or we have to get a longer lease. So we came back. They took it back to the council. Council didn't want to sell it, and some people thought somebody might underbid us because they couldn't just sell it outright. It would go out for bid. So they gave us a 50-year lease.
Oh, wow.
So we signed that. Some of the council members thought that was a little much, but we told them we had to be sure that we were going to be here. So this rodeo is going to go on. I think I'll probably be about 110 or something when the lease is over. So.
Well, that's a good thing because you're pouring a lot of money into it, and you folks did such great improvements out there over the years. And you don't want to lose it. We got to the point where all that money, we got to the point there we thought we have to do something, or putting all this money into the grounds to guarantee we're going to have everything. So Right.
And was that the only time, Dan, that you guys had to borrow money? Did you have other opportunities or lean years, tough years, anything like that?
We had some years where things were close, and we always kept a line of credit in case we had to start in the spring and get started. And as the rodeo was over, we'd pay it back. But right now we're in fairly good shape, and these last 2 years have picked us right up. And now we're building new bleachers for this year.
New bleachers, yeah, and
they're already paid for.
They're already paid for. 250 new seats down by the timed event chute.
It's right down by the where the calf
Mm-hmm.
the roping is, and the steer wrestling.
So the Benton Area Rodeo Association, not for profit. When did that get formed officially?
1984.
So before you even started the
Well, no.
rodeo.
1984. It was a Benton revitalization. It was called,
Mm-hmm.
looking to do something to help this area and surrounding townships.
Okay.
But we started with the town here, trying to clean up some things, helping businesses fix windows, clean things up in people's yards and everything.
Oh, you did. Okay.
That was prior to the rodeo, and then once we got through that year, we didn't want to do this for the rest of our lives, so we picked the rodeo and went on from there.
And I know you were sitting at the golf course having a meeting, and it sounds like how to help the town, how to help the borough, how to help the community. And somebody mentioned rodeo. And had the majority of you guys, I mean, did you have knowledge of the rodeo or a rodeo at that time?
No, the people that were there didn't. There only might have been a couple.
Really? Okay. And so did you go do some research? Did you go watch rodeos? What did you do to say, okay, this is the vehicle. This is how we're going to fund Benton's revitalization?
Nope, we just thought we would try it. Since that farmer said he'd give us the land,
Okay.
and the golf course said, we'll give you the parking. And everybody said that sounded like the best idea they had that day. We thought we'll just try it 1 year and see what happens.
And go ahead, Sam.
I was actually competing at the first rodeo they did at that farmer's field, which they took the draw and posted it on the silo, taped it on the side of the silo there. And you went up and seen what you had right there. But it's this whole organization was made up of pretty much all business people, and they really did some things that were out of the ordinary that really seemed to work. And I love that when somebody steps in that says, okay, let's try this, you know, and it does work. So it was a credit to them and the effort they put into it.
Yeah.
Because there was two things that were really different, and I might get into that later. But,
Okay.
Really, really different thought.
So the first year was successful. You said you raised about 10. Did you net 10,000, Dan?
I think we netted 10,000 first year.
Okay. And onward and upward at that point.
Well, one of the funny things, like Sam was talking, we didn't have a building. So Dean Kelchner was our chairman, I think, at that time.
Mm-hmm.
He backed his car up outside and took money out of the trunk of his car to sell tickets. We had to get the local police to stand by the car.
I see.
Because Dean was one to visit with people walking around.
Right.
So we said, you just stand there and watch his trunk. So that was
So
the funny part.
You've had the town police involved a lot. As a matter of fact, this last rodeo, the town police were involved with everything, right?
Yes. Yeah, they come in and they helped us a lot. And right inside the entrance, they stood right there and they went out in the stands if they saw anything that wasn't right. And that doesn't happen very often because one thing we signed our lease, there'd be no alcohol.
Okay.
First year.
Yeah.
And so if they see anything, somebody coming in carrying something, they nicely have them take it back out to the car.
Okay. And I know you had big crowds this year, and we'll get into that in just a little bit, but the police were involved with that too, if I remember right.
Yes.
So over the 39 years, any particular events or adventures or stories that kind of stick in your brain?
Special
Well, I
Kids
have a
Roundup.
few.
You have a few. You have Special Kids Roundup. Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. When did that start? The Special Kids Roundup Saturday morning, typically.
Yeah, Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. And I don't know how many years it's been going on, but all the money they raise will go to different places that help special kids, kids with special needs.
Mm-hmm.
And they usually raffle off a steer or they'll have a drawing. And that was one of the one year it was their prize steer got loose.
Got loose.
And it got loose, yeah, and we couldn't find it. And so since I was doing the advertising, I thought, well, this might be something good. So I called the radio stations and called the TV because they did ads for us and the newspapers, and they sent a helicopter down from the television station to help look for this animal. And what we found out in the end was it went up in the farmer's cornfield about a half mile above town and laid out by the creek, and we didn't know that. And then at night it would come out with his animals.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
we thought, oh, but in the meantime, TV station, radios, everybody's covering where they get to.
Where's the steer today? I love that.
Yeah, and we thought, boy, where's the steer? So we thought, how are we going to get that steer back here? So what they did, when they finally located him, they said, we'll get him at night when he comes in to see his animals. And we had it in the newspaper the next day that Terry Conklin roped that steer and caught it.
Yeah.
And they took it out of there, and we got the steer back.
Oh, nice. Okay, so good ending to a story. And you got a lot of publicity in the process.
Oh, we got TV, radio, everything, and people calling from 15 miles away thought they saw it over there somewhere.
Now, did you name the steer Waldo?
We should have something, but they said it was hiding up. It was hiding up in this farmer's cornfield, and they were afraid to go in and get it because it would ruin his corn trying to catch him. So they waited till nighttime till he come in to be with other animals and roped him.
And Terry's been involved with your rodeo for years.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Annie were a big part of it when I first started there.
Yeah, they were a big help with the special kids. A real big help.
Yeah.
And they own the famous Pinky, the announcer's horse. Beautiful Palomino.
Yeah, and a couple of memories on the rodeo end. I remember one year put sawdust in the arena, and I don't know where they came up with that idea, but this was before I was doing the rodeo, and I actually leased some horses, and I wasn't there. I was out west riding at that time, and I asked them called the guys, asked them how the horses did. They said, well, 2 of them fell down. I said, what? And they said they put sawdust in there and it was really slick underneath. And so that was one thing. It must have been real muddy or something. They were trying to dry it up and it didn't work, but that's the way Benton was. They would try things to make it better for everybody. Mm-hmm. And that was a lesson learned that didn't work, but they were always on top of stuff trying to make it better for everybody.
Yeah. Constant improvement is absolutely what I experienced over the years. Now, one year you lost the lights in the arena. All the electricity went out, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was, it happened like the day before on a Wednesday or something like that. And I was doing a rodeo in Watertown, New York on a Wednesday, and we're going to Benton on a Thursday. And that's when I swore I'd never do that again because my mind just is not good for traveling overnight to get there. Just too much could go wrong. But anyway, some high winds or tornadoes, I think it was a tornado came through there, and it wiped a bunch of trees and stuff out, which it did some damage at the rodeo grounds, but not real bad. But it was all around there, and they didn't have power. So we're discussing in the meetings, what are we going to do? We'll try to run this off before it gets dark. It starts at 7:30. That gives us, close to, an hour and a half before it gets, starts to get dark. And we like to run it about 2 hours, no more, no less. And come bull riding time, the fire company pulled their trucks up and put the spotlights out, and away we went.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
It was interesting. It was really good.
Yeah. The whole entire community pitches in.
Yes.
Excellent.
And that's what they're doing it for, is a community. So
yeah.
It's just a wonderful thing.
Yeah, this just blows me away as I sit and listen to this story. 1984, the Benton Revitalization Commission or Committee forms up and becomes known as the Benton Area Rodeo Association. And how does the association work, Dan? Can I just raise my hand and say I'd like to become a member? How many members are there in the Benton Area Rodeo Association?
We have 600.
Wow.
The first year when I was in it, when we formed it,
mm-hmm.
just to get going, so we had some money, we all paid $25 to get a share. That gave us a lifetime ticket to the rodeo.
Okay.
Not realizing it was going to go 60 years. Then after we sold that many, then we sold another batch for 50.
Okay.
And then we needed some money again. We sold another batch for 100.
Oh, wow.
And the last 100 we sold, we charged $300 for them.
Okay.
We sold 100 of them.
Okay.
And that was one of the things.
There is a few openings too.
Are there? Okay. And is the current price to become a member is $300?
Well, the rodeo does not sell them.
Ah.
Whoever has the share says, I'd like to turn my share in. What are they selling for an hour? What do people pay?
Yeah.
And we usually tell them somewhere around 300 to 350.
Okay.
In that range.
And there's always
there's a couple available.
Okay, you got a couple available. Okay, but no open market on which these are traded that sets value. You just negotiate your way in or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Most of the members that we have,
mm-hmm.
they are involved in the rodeo in some way.
Sure.
Because we have fun shows, their children are involved in extra things that we have, and they just join to help.
Yeah. And 600 members. You got a week of a lot of rodeo activity, But when do you start planning? So the 2024 rodeo's coming up. It's going to open up on July 16th that week. When do you start your planning for what next year is going to look like, and get your project list together and start building, start improving? How does that go? I mean, how do you spend your time? Yeah.
When the rodeo's over,
mm-hmm.
the next month we're starting on the next year.
Okay.
So we have not everything in place, but highlighted what we're doing, and it's fresh on our mind what we should have done. Each committee, we have a lot of committees. One's parking, one's selling tickets, and we ask questions while it's fresh on our mind. What can you do to improve for next year? Mm-hmm. And then we used to have our chairman elected for 2 years. Mm-hmm. He'd stay on for 2 years, and then when he went off, we'd get a new one. Mm-hmm. That way they'd bring in new people to help. So you don't wear out the same people all the time.
Sure.
Now, lately, they've been going longer. The chairman we have now has been in there since 2009 or 10.
And that would be Mel Parks?
That'd be Mel Parks.
Mm-hmm.
I just had breakfast and talked to him.
Good.
And he said, as long as they'll have me, I'll stay right on.
Good.
Because we're getting so involved with all these other groups, fun shows, Keystone Junior Rodeos. We have we even had Indians come in August, and we have barrel racing starting. And he says, I'm working on it almost every day. looking
Really?
at stuff.
Really? Okay.
So instead of waiting for a rodeo once a year, we're busy the whole year.
Okay. And yeah, and I was online and took a look at things, and you've got a lot going on, as you said. You've got the Benton Fun Show Buckle Series, which kicks off in May. It looks like darn near a rodeo or a show every month, May 12th, June 16th, etc. And you guys can find that on the Facebook page, Benton Area Rodeo Fun Shows. And it's a buckle series. And I saw last year's buckles, and very nice. They got pee-wee classes. For the youngsters, 9 to 12 junior classes, and new this year, they've got an 8 and under class, but all the way up seniors, 18 and over. Dress code is required, all that sort of thing. But first, second, third place prizes. So check that out, the Benton Fun Show Buckle Series. And then in addition, Dan, you talked about Junior Rodeo, the Keystone Junior Rodeo Association, KJRA. April 27th, they've got their first event. It's actually 2 events on that weekend. Kicks off at 9 in the morning. And then in June, the 1st of June, they will have 2 more events going to be held there at 9 o'clock as well. And then new this year, if I'm not mistaken, the barrel racing on Thursday nights, which kicks off in April. Is that right?
I'm not sure the starting date, but it's going to be soon.
Okay. But every
It'll be
Thursday?
Every Thursday night. I don't know how long that'll last. They just come in and they want to start it up and try it. And I know it's going to be at least six weeks or 8 weeks.
Okay. So lots going on at the grounds. You know, we know of the big rodeo and a lot of us sometimes think of it as, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is the rodeo, but there is so much going on. High school rodeo has been there in the past. It gets busy on rodeo week. Dan's already talked about 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, the Special Kids Rodeo Roundup. Miss Linda Dent takes care of that. 8 a.m. before that, the walk and the run that benefits the Special Kids on Saturday morning as well. And then Dan, Sunday morning church on the stage at the grounds. You want to talk a little bit about that?
We have let's see, that's 10 o'clock, Cowboy Church.
Mm-hmm.
Says everyone welcome, special music by the Fioli family.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, like some of the cowboys are there, and they sit around and probably last about an hour and a half.
Okay.
Just something that we have.
You know, we talk about innovation. We got all the seats. We got the new announcer stand. One of the things I want to talk about, actually a couple of things I want to talk about with the contestants is, Dan, you have put a lot of money into the rodeo grounds, the parking area. I remember rolling in, got a great place to park there, and got electric I plug into. There's water available to us. A lot of improvements for the cowboys and cowgirls when they come in with the big rigs. You got room. It's grass. It's mowed. It's beautiful.
Yeah, they do a lot for the contestants there. And let's face it, the contestants are a commodity. We need them. As a rodeo producer, the Benton Rodeo Association is a stock contractor to sell my product. I need them. And it's very difficult to get them there to stay for 4 shows, which they had.
So talk a little bit about the innovation. This is the first rodeo that I know of doing this. So as you said, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3. It used to be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday was a rodeo, and then you had Sunday for bull riding. But a few years ago, that all changed. Again, innovation, attracting the rodeo competitors to this great rodeo. So step us through that, Sam.
Okay, well, when it first, we first started having more difficult getting the number of contestants we wanted to put on the show that we wanted to do. And every committee across the country is in the same boat. Actually, I had purchased the All-American Rodeo with a PRCA card, and now I could put on a PRCA rodeo. So we took Thursday, knowing that they had a couple other rodeos going on, but Thursday was a good night to get PRCA contestants. So we did that rodeo Thursday night, hoping they would stay over and compete Friday and Saturday in the APRA, IPRA rodeo.
Mm-hmm.
And that went pretty good for a while till the PRCA made a rule that you couldn't do 2 rodeos if there was another sanctioning body within the week at the same facility. You couldn't do that.
Wow.
And that rule was made for the ERA, which was it was the Elite Rodeo Association, was going into some of their bigger PRCA rodeos and doing a night like we were doing.
Really? Okay.
There at Benton. So that being said, that took care of that, and we sat down again, and I came up with this idea. Okay, you do Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is always the most difficult to get contestants at. So let's make that the standalone rodeo. They can come compete there Thursday, go somewhere else Friday if they want, compete Friday, come in for the money for Thursday and Friday, and then stay for Saturday and compete for extra prize money for that day. Which, Saturday's always the most difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it worked to a certain extent, but there's so many events going on a Saturday night in the Northeast this time of year, it's still difficult to draw them in. But actually, I got a call from somebody from the Benton area, and we're going over some ideas to try to get more contestants there, and I think it will work. Okay. But we did the Bolorama. Mm-hmm. That was an idea that I sat down with Benton and said, look, I think this will work here on Sunday. Let's put it together and do it. And they said, I don't think so. We don't right. want to do that other day. Yeah. And, what's it going to cost us? And I told them. And now I said, well, what if I go in halves with you? Partners okay. on it. I really think this will work, And it was okay the first couple of years. We didn't make a lot of money, didn't lose a lot of money. I think one year I lost a little, mm-hmm. But the show was basically free to them, and I got half the gate. I think is how we worked it. They got half, and I got half. Then come years down the road, it was working, and they said, well, we'll just buy it out from you and pay you.
Okay.
And wasn't that a dumb mistake on my part? Because that is now the best night of the whole rodeo, or the whole weekend, is the Sunday night performance. And I could have a little bonus now, sitting back in my retirement days, if I would have just held on to that contract. But it worked out, and now the contestants, the horse riders and bull riders and barrel racers, if they go to the Saturday rodeo, they can stay right there and compete for good prize money on Sunday. And it's a pretty nice deal. So
and I was looking at the money. So from a contestant's point of view, and I just want to make sure that I'm stating this right. If I'm a bull rider, on a weekend that kicks off on Thursday, runs through Sunday, I have 3 different events that I can enter and never leave the ground. Okay. Correct. And I looked at last year's number. The total payoff for the Thursday, Friday rodeo was $18,000. The Saturday night rodeo paid off $12,000. So Sam, 30 grand payoff for 2 rodeos, and we still got Sunday to go.
Yes. And, you know, some of the other contractors got a little miffed at me, and I can see why. You're kind of hogging the contestants to stay there.
Right.
But they're going to go where they want to go. And me, in my mind, why would you go and stay in one place? Well, that's not the rodeo world. The mentality is you go here this day and you go somewhere else and you go somewhere else. And I just couldn't understand why we weren't really flooded with contestants Saturday from competing Friday. But they wanted to go to their other rodeos, and we put in good money. But it's got the job done because if you don't have the contestants, you will die on the vine.
Right.
You know, it's a big circle. It's a big circle. You need the contestants, you need the committee, and the contractor, and they all need to work together to try to bring them in. And so far, that was the biggest challenge, and one of the reasons I decided to sell. Not the only reason, but the boys were getting older and moving on. I didn't have that group. Not only did I have my own personal rodeo with me,
right, contestants, yep.
They brought young kids in.
Yes.
You know, the young kids. Now you got this old contractor, old grumpy guy. How is he going to get the young kids to come in?
Right.
So, and it is what we wanted to do. That's what we built these boys for.
Yeah.
Tried to make the best contestants out of them that we knew how, and it has proven to be beneficial for everybody, and not just me and the rodeo company, but for the committees. And I think they're seeing what a benefit that was over the years.
You bet. And you know, you talk about the boys, and I did the math, you know, to win the bull riding on the first rodeo, to win the bull riding on the second rodeo, I if I would have swept this past year, Sam, almost $3,000 got paid to the winning bull rider in each of those events, or in the bull riding, I should say, for each of those nights. That's big money, dude. And never,
you know, that's $90,000 or $9,000.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you a little story, seeing what this is about. Dalen was about 15, maybe 16, probably 15, 14 or 15. And I wasn't going to let him enter the Sunday Bullarama because, you know, we tried to keep better bulls and stuff for that. You know, brought other contractors in because you needed 35 bulls plus whatever we had in the short round, 6 or 7. And lo and behold, we were short a few guys, and he was after me. And in the long go, the bulls weren't, you know, they're a little easier than the short go bulls. So I said, yeah, you know, go ahead and enter it. So he goes up and enters it late, and lo and behold, he was the only one to ride a bull.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In the long
go. Yeah.
Okay? In the long go. So come to the short go, and, you know, he's a 14 or 15. And I said, you're not getting on. Oh, I said, no, you're not ready for these bulls. You're not getting on. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
You know, and you can imagine what a kid that he was just the only one to ride on. And now your dad is not going to let you get on. Oh, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't bad. You know, he just sat on the fence and you could just see it eating right through him. And he listened to me, and then he went up and got his money, and he came back and he handed it to me and said, I don't deserve it. You wouldn't let me do it.
Okay.
And then the association called me up and said, well, Dalen doesn't get any of that money because he didn't ride in the short go. In order to get paid, you have to ride in the short go.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Oh.
So it just was a vicious cycle, but that's that's some of the challenges that goes on.
And you talk about Dalen, of course, the 2022 PBR World Champion. He competed in that great arena with Dan and that crew for a number of years, Sam. And when you talk about the talent through the years, and I'm just going to talk about some rodeo entertainers and fill in anybody that I'm missing. Of course, Hollywood and Boogerhead, right? And Brinson James Boogerhead is now out in the world, the PBR world. Rockin' Robbie Hodges, he was there a number of years. Keith Isley, the great rodeo entertainer, Mr. Keith Isley out of the Carolinas. Trent McFarland, he's still entertaining us there. Did I miss anybody from the rodeo entertainment business? Of course, we got Jerry Wayne Olson, right? Liberty Horse, SL, Pemberton, and Loretta. They trick rode there. Dusty Crane, the great trick rider that we saw this year in the National Finals Rodeo in Vegas. She come through that arena, Sam.
Yeah, and they've had a lot of great clowns and specialty acts. And I believe Toad Cook was there.
Toad Cook was there.
Too,
I remember that. You brought him out of retirement to be there.
Yeah, he just came and did a couple of them. Just an amazing talent. And it was, they've been there. We not always can get the best, but we did have a nice run for clowns and contract acts. When you go to Benton 4 performances, and you go to Attica with 5 performances, North Washington with 5 performances, kind of in a nice row there.
Yep.
And they would come out and they would work it. And it was really good.
Good. Yeah, from a contestant's point of view, from a rodeo talent point of view, Benton Area Rodeo Association, this great rodeo, again, celebrating 39 years this year. So Dan, we were talking about prices per shares and committees, parking and selling tickets. The current crew, and I believe some of these were part of the original crew. Mel Parks, he's the president. Dave Elliott is the vice president. Lynette Fisk is the secretary. Dan Stoneham, you advertising publicity chair. Linda Dent, chairman of the Special Kids Rodeo and Program Booklet. Ashley Swearingen, the corporate secretary. Ryan Craig is the treasurer. Have I missed anybody on officer-wise on the Benton Area Rodeo Association?
We have an assistant treasurer, which is Emily Steiner.
Okay, Emily Steiner. Okay, I remember that name from high school rodeo. My goodness.
Oh yeah, she's in there. She's pretty active. She helps a lot.
And then all the great you talked about. You talked about volunteers that help, and a few names, and I'm on a list of a few of them. Steve Fisk, always a big part of the rodeo. Always had his hand in things. Carol Wolf, running the gates, and just not a nicer person to interact with the contestants, your ambulance crew that is always there year after year. And then you've got a New York cowboy that comes down and spends a lot of time with you, Dan.
Yeah, that'd be Pat Tooley. He's been a real good help. He comes down here, brings his trailer down because it's quite a drive for him. And he does a lot of work. He comes not just rodeo week. He's here other times too. He's helping right now build bleachers, and he's real active. He's more active than I am right now.
Okay.
That you can see what I do.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well,
sometimes I think I'm not doing anything. I'm in the background a little bit. But,
and I've known Dan for 30 some years, and he might say they don't see him out front, but that man's working all the time. Yeah, all the time at it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people. I hate to mention names because there's so many of them. I might leave one person out, but when I sit around the meeting room, I look at the older ones sitting around the outside, and all these new ones coming up because we're pushing for young people to come to all these different groups, and there they sit giving us new ideas about advanced ticket sales and different things like that. And we just sort of smile watching them talk there. So
good.
Sometimes it's hard to make changes, but we can see where we have to.
Yeah.
Because we won't be here forever. So we're getting them more involved. Our corporate secretary, Ashley Swearingen, she's real active. And we just sort of sat back and watch, and once in a while we'll hop in and give our view what we think. But no, things are going great.
Good. And still running or raising money for the community. And you guys have a bit of a unique approach to that. You talked about food stands in the first years and hoping they would follow you. One of the things that as a spectator, as somebody sitting in the crowd, the thing that you have available to you is lots and lots and lots of really good, interesting food. So you've got the food stands, and I'm just going to list just a few here, Dan. Pizza, milkshakes, funnel cakes, fries. And I think if I'm not mistaken, somebody said the official food of the Benton Rodeo was halushki.
Yeah, I haven't eaten any, but everybody comes in asking for it. And we've had it every year.
Yeah.
And that's the main food stand. They have pierogies, halushki, soups, drinks, hot sausage, cheeseburger, hamburgers, hot dogs. And the church runs that stand for us.
Okay.
The Stillwater Church.
Okay.
Then we have we got a pizza stand. We have somebody volunteered to come in to run that for us. And then we have the fresh cut French fries. That's the fire company. They do that. Then we got a funnel cake stand and corn dogs. And then we have the Lions Club has ice cream, roasted peanuts, and more. The Boy Scout troop comes in. They have nachos plus, cotton candy, and popcorn. Then we have the Little League. They come in and they run milkshakes. They handle our milkshake stand. And the Benton FFA from the school comes in. They have a snow cone stand. And that's what we've had. And they're all involved and they're all happy with that.
And you have a wrestling club there that is involved as well, yes?
Right. They come in and help us.
Okay.
And I think they want to have something this year, too, something different. And I'm not sure what that is, but I know they're going to be there, too.
Okay.
Well, Doug,
yeah.
If you'll give me a minute, I'm going to go get something to eat because you're making me hungry.
Okay. There's
they'll have enough to eat. And I know you mentioned the grounds open at 4.
Yeah.
The vendor area opens at 5.
And let's talk a little bit about that, what I call the midway, right? The midway. And, of course, kind of the cornerstone of that midway is Thomas Brothers hats and so forth. So beautiful hats they bring in, Dave Thomas and crew. So talk a little bit about the midway and how that kind of got started.
A lot of the sponsors we had brought some of their trailers in, things like that, and set up in the vendor area. And we're always looking for more vendors. Car dealers. We have a couple car dealers coming in. Can't mention all the vendors, but we are trying to get more vendors.
And how can they get a hold of you? Somebody listening to this podcast says, oh, I'd like to go display my wares. Who do they get a hold of? What's the best way to do it?
You can call Mel Parks, our chairman.
And did I see online I can fill out a vendor app? Yeah, a vendor application.
And that's one of the probably the new things the kids came up with that's working in there. And the other, they're doing all these horse shows and barrel races and things through the years and the kids rodeo. That's only going to build a contestant base for later on. And, they're just, it's unique to the area because there's not a lot of rodeos arenas in the area, and it'll just help them in the future. And I know my nephew is married to Ashley Swearingen, is his wife, and they're very involved. And he's been bucking bulls and had practices at his house. He built an arena for the kids, and this, between him, between their kids and my other relatives that go down to the junior rodeos there, it's a kind of a, there might be 20 plus swearing kids entered in that rodeo at the youth rodeo. So it's just a wonderful thing for the kids, because now if they start there, they're going to come back when they come to the rodeo.
Yeah.
One thing with the vendors and the parking and coming in, I would encourage people to come a little bit early.
Yeah.
Some people wait till 6:37 to come into the rodeo, and traffic backs up a little bit. So they should start coming in earlier, start coming in at 5:30 to help with the traffic out on the street.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Because that one night for Bull Run, I think we parked 1,000 cars.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
And we have 10 people parking cars. We have people helping them off the highway, but some of them would be nice if they came just a little earlier than waiting to the last minute to come in.
Yes, absolutely. And we joked a bit about the police got involved, right? Because of so many cars that couldn't get off the road and that sort of thing.
Right. We sort of thought we never had that problem before. Our problem's trying to get them here. Now we're trying to get them in quicker.
Yeah.
So we thought if they come a little earlier, we could help with the traffic with the police, because we're backed up a half mile every road coming in when they wait to the last minute. So we have double people getting them in quicker, but if some of them could come a little early, that would help.
You bet. You bet. And I looked at this year's your rodeo entertainment coming in. Of course, you got Ty Miller back, I believe the third year for him. Great announcer. We had an opportunity to see him on Saturday night last year. And Mr. Trent McFarland is back. The tradition continues. Great to have Trent back. A lot of fun, great entertainer, and the duo between Ty Miller and Trent McFarland, they put on a great show and entertained the crowds, Dan.
Right, and that Trent McFarland, the clown, too, if you have any kids, after the show, he'll sit over there and sign autographs and do things, and the kids seem to like that, taking something home with them.
You bet. You bet. Absolutely. So a lot going on. I hope everybody can see that. Barrel racing kicks off on Thursday nights here in April and May. 39th year. That is incredible. When I think of how your story goes, of how you got created, how you started the Benton Area Rodeo Association, and how somebody said, well, we should have a rodeo as a fundraiser. That is so cool to see such a great success story and such a great rodeo. So this year, July 18th, the doors open at 4 on Thursday night, as Dan said. Show starts at 7:30. Come on in early. Get there early. Get your seats. Get everything parked in. Get you some of the great food that they have. And then on Friday night, same time on the 19th. Saturday on the 20th, same time. 21st, which is Sunday. Show starts at 7:30. Doors open at 4 o'clock. Good opportunity for you right now to get online to bentonrodeo.com and get your online tickets before they sell out. Perfect time to do it. And you ought to see all the different events they have going. And to do that, Facebook, you can find them at Benton Rodeo. So lots of great things going on, everything from Keystone Junior Rodeo Association to barrel racing. And don't forget, Tuesday night, this Frontier Days week kicks off Tuesday night with a fun show. Wednesday night on the 17th with an open 3-day barrel show. Lots going on. Get your tickets now and make sure you get in your seats, which you have 250 brand new seats this year. Get in your seats let's get you in the seats by 6:30 with maybe a pierogi, with a bowl of pierogies and halushkin, maybe a slice of pizza, milkshake, as Dan has said. Just great food and just a great opportunity in this great permanent rodeo facility. So, Dan, anything that we've missed, any final words?
No, I'll just be happy to see the people come to the rodeo, and maybe I'll get a chance to see part of it myself. I haven't seen one in 39 years.
So you never have an opportunity to sit? Okay.
I make an excuse. I take milkshake up the announcer maybe and watch a bull riding,
Yeah.
or maybe I'll sneak in and watch Specialty Act one night, and then the next night I'll watch the little kids do something. We have a new thing with kids. Sometimes there's 30, 40 kids in the arena doing a stick race or whatever you call it.
Right. Yep.
And that turn, we had to have that twice last year. Had too many kids going in.
Okay.
So the families are liking that too. So it's
Perfect.
and I think everybody likes the beginning, national anthem. Our girl last year that sang the national anthem had to walk because she couldn't get in. Everything was backed up. She was going to have a baby within a month. She walked across town, across the airport, got up there 2 minutes before she had to sing. So we told her, now, plan your family a little different now because you're going to be singing again this year. So.
Okay. Good to have her back.
Yeah, Mel had to take her back to her car in a cart to get her back because she walked so far being pregnant. So.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and they all get the same pay, whoever wants to come in.
Yeah, big money, is it, Dan?
You want to help the road, you get the same pay that I get and the president gets.
Really?
We all work for free, so come
free.
on in. We'll give you we'll give you a job.
Yeah, and there's a lot to do, isn't there, Dan? A lot to do.
A lot of mm-hmm.
And one of the other ways that you raise money, and I remember this was one of your jobs, was a 50-50 raffle ticket. You guys, do you have any idea how many dollars you gave away, which means you raised for the community? Any idea over the years?
No, I don't have a total for you. I know we did well, but I don't know what it was really.
Okay. Anything else before we say good day?
Nope. Well, I hope you and Sam are going by here, the rodeo.
Yep.
If you get a chance, we'll be looking for you.
All right. Perfect. And had an opportunity, guys, to stop by there last year. What a great show. We were there on a Saturday night, kind of like a family reunion, going back and just seeing everybody. Great crowds, great performance. All-American Rodeo is a stock contractor, puts on a great show, and of course the great Cowboys and Cowgirls, the American Professional Rodeo Association and the International Professional Rodeo Association. Lots of money on the line there. Come on in. And I always claimed, Sam, and this may be improper, I always claimed that the Cowboy Christmas, that 4th of July run, didn't end until you got through Benton, even though it's mid-July. So maybe not perfect.
Well, it's a great week of Western events there, and maybe that's why they hired me back for so many years, as Dan didn't get to watch the rodeo, so I could tell him how it was. But there was a day, and this is a little thing in the past, that how his heart is in it. Him, Dan, Mark Richard, and myself would sit around his table, and we would read the survey cards every night of what the people had to say, good, bad, or otherwise. Okay. And that was just part of the process to learn how to make it better. And he didn't see it, but he got to read things. And if it was a bad one, I might slide it underneath the table or something. But, you can't learn if you're not
getting feedback,
hearing the truth.
Bet.
So
you bet. That's exactly right.
It was a good time.
All right. Well, Dan, we thank you for being on the show, and good luck in all the planning and the hard work and everything that still has to be done before you guys open up on Tuesday, July 16th.
Yeah, I can't wait till it gets here.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, we hope that you enjoyed this episode of our podcast with Mr. Dan Stoneham of the Benton Area Rodeo Association, the Benton Rodeo in Pennsylvania. Now, this year celebrating 39 years, and the week kicks off, as I just said, on Tuesday, July 16th. The rodeo is July 18th. Doors open at 4. Get there early. Check out the Midway, all the great food. And to make your listening easier, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Search for Beyond the Chutes and follow us. Like us, give us comments. Let us hear from you. We love hearing what you're thinking of our show and where we should be going with it. A reminder to check out Beyond the Chutes Facebook page and click to follow. And on that Facebook page, you can click right at the very top. It'll direct you to Spotify, to Apple Podcasts, wherever you want to go listen. And we'd like to say thank you to our sponsor, Parasite Systems, for their support with our podcast. Parasite System is a push-button parasitic diagnostic system for pasture animals, your horses, cattle, goats, sheep, and chickens, and now for your companion animals, your dogs and your cats. You can find them at parasitesystems.com. Now is the time to get your animals tested. Check with your vet to see if they have the Parasite Systems all-in-one testing for your dogs and for your horses and your cattle. And for your large animals, you can go online. If you'd like to order some mail-in kits, we've got a coupon BTC023 for 50% off your test kits. This is Beyond the Chutes with
Sam Swearingen
and
Dan Stoneham.
Until next time, this is Doug Simcox. Thank you for listening.